Hey guys, so I just beat a certain game, a little bit late, I guess in my career you could say, but Pokemon Red. I downloaded on the 3DS store and I finally, for the first time, played my real Pokemon game. I mean, I don't think Pokemon Stadium on the 64 counts, so it was really interesting to go back to a game like Pokemon, because I remember growing up, I was into it. I was into the TV show, the cards, and I didn't actually know really it was a video game. It was kind of strange. Like, I saw people playing it, but I never made the connect. I don't know. But the main point is that going back to a game like that, you have to think, everyone was addicted to it. And you have to think, well, maybe it's just because you're a kid, maybe because it was just so popular that everyone was doing it. And does the game stand on its own 2 feet? Pretty much more than, 20 years later? And I have to say, yeah. I mean, that game, now is still very addictive. And it's still fun and good. And it just, I don't know, there's something that feels really good about the game. Maybe it was because I was playing the super simple version with, red is just black and white. And I know most people play yellow. At least I get the feeling that most people played yellow. But it was just very comfy. I didn't enjoy all the 8-bit tunes, but they were very iconic. And I do have to say this part on the music and on the 8-bit is that, I've had times when a song will get stuck in my head. And it's not exactly what happened this time, but what did happen was I felt like I would hear the songs throughout the day. It would kind of be a weird phenomena where, you could, hear the fridge running or the microwave or something, or you just hear nothing, but you would think that there was such a high, because the music is such a high frequency, you would almost I would feel like I would hallucinate hearing the songs throughout certain points in the day. I'm like, is my game on? No. So that's kind of a weird experience I wanted to share. But besides that, what makes this game really good, even 20 years later? And I think, okay, so on the addictive aspect, I'd have to say that the fact that you gain EXP in every single battle you do is a great incentive to keep playing. If you have a game that encourages you even for losing in some way, because even if you lose one Pokemon, you still get the next one, and then if that kills, the other Pokemon, then you get all that EXP. And it's, it's a common thing that you swap out your Pokemon, the weak for the strong, to land the killing blow, so they split the EXP, which is really good. And also there's a certain item that lets you do that later on in the game anyway. But, so that's one aspect. I guess the other aspect is that you want to see, as you play the game, you want to see what all the evolutions are, and you're kind of curious to see how many you actually can catch, how many you can collect, and leveling them up, getting their special powers, getting their special appearances, and adding that to the Pokédex so it shows a record of your progress feels really good. And I guess also just the aesthetics and the look of the whole game, something I really appreciate off the track. So I've really never really played a proper Pokemon game, but I guess I was looking at one of the recent ones, and when the Pokemon do their sound effect or their cry or whatever, it seems to be the same cry from 20 years ago. I mean, that is amazing throwback and retention, or whatever you call it, or homage. A lot of games have, over the years that are as old as Pokemon, have changed their UI, they've changed their styles, their art directions, etc., and they've adapted. But the one thing they decided to keep was the distinct sounds, which I thought was really cool. And I can also totally understand how people, over the years with their DSs and whatnot, would want to trade Pokemon from one game to the next, so that when you go to the next game, you keep your Pokemon. So it's just like the game, where Pokemon are literally just computer data, and you just transfer them via your PC. And I think that's really cool. Obviously, talking about that in the context of Sword and Shield is a bit iffy. I think I have a better appreciation now why Sword and Shield was so, I suppose, hated. Because again, I was watching it. I was kind of getting, oh yeah, that's stupid. But now I kind of feel I understand the full depth of Sword and Shield. Since I'm on the topic, I guess we'll just dive into that and why I hate it, even though I'm not really a Pokemon fan, but maybe now. I mean, first of all, the music is terrible. And you know, I don't say that. There's one song in particular, which is the Cave Level or something, and a friend linked me, and it actually sounds legitimately dissonant. I don't know what to say. It's legitimately bad in some parts, and other parts just okay, whatever. It's serviceable. But the other big thing was the Dexit, where they just took half of the Dex and just cut it because they didn't have enough time. So that means even if you have Mareep or this scenario in particular, on Twitter, this person was asking, oh, I can't wait to use Mareep in the next Pokemon game, and the director of the game or something said, oh yeah, no, yeah, we're excited too, and Mareep is not supported in Sword and Shield. So yeah, now I understand. You put your love and care and experience and grinding into these creatures, and then in the next installment it's like, yeah, well, we just decided not to do it, even though we've done it for the past 20 games or 20 years or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think what's even more ridiculous and what's more, I don't want to say despicable, but just pathetic and ill-intentioned is the people who will defend the choices made by Game Freak, I believe, who was the developer, who defend the Dexit and all aspects of the Pokemon game and say be grateful. It's just bad, just a bad look and a bad taste, and I just don't agree with it. I think it's awful. People defend terrible decisions, and of course their position is, oh, we were being mean or something. Well, I think there is within due charge to complain about things that have been staples for over 20 years, and they're not changed features, they're cut features. Besides that, I think Sword and Shield, and I've also heard that Sword and Shield was way too easy to grind, like it was almost like super easy compared to its predecessors where you could just go quickly. And again, I haven't played it, so you can't take my word for it, but from what I've seen from afar is what it seems to be. Not to mention the N64 really got a great boost with this game and the graphics department. Yeah, no, and I've seen the compilations, the animations, and it's just such a disaster. There are some good parts of it, though. The trainers seem okay, and the starters seem okay, I guess. But as someone who just got into the Pokemon fandom, I don't see myself playing Sword and Shield anytime soon. And I don't really see myself playing a Pokemon game after this, so maybe I guess I can't call myself a Pokemon fan. But I've officially played the source material, and I'm very happy I've done that, because I understand the best feeling of the game is actually when I beat it, and I gotta tell you, when you're going through the Elite Four and you beat the final guy, and it's like, oh, spoilers, spoiler alert, there's actually one more guy you have to fight, and it's your rival. It took me maybe only 3 or 4 times, but you have to go through the whole 4 bosses every time, so it was pretty long. But when I finally did it, it was like euphoria. And the Pokemon is not a story heavy game, but I do usually love story heavy games. But even just beating Pokemon, it was such a good feeling, and I don't know why. Maybe because it took me a long time to beat this game. Like I started it, I would say years ago, and then I just put it off. I just put it on hold for years when I got to I think Sabrina's gym or Cinnabar Island, around there. And I just said, you know what, I'm just not feeling it. And I forced myself to pick it up again and just kind of grind through it when I had a lot of free time, and I'm glad I did, because now, it's one of Nintendo's flagship titles, and I think what was great about it is the feeling of having this army of Pokemon at your disposal, but it's not just a feeling of, it's an army, but I feel that I've cared for these creatures, I've leveled them up, I took my Charizard Charmander throughout the whole process and evolved him, leveled him up, and I felt like they weren't just my Pokemon, but they were also my friends. I know that's incredibly corny. I know it sounded corny by mine, but that's how it feels, and it's a really good feeling that through cooperation you were able to overcome your rival and your challenges and just kind of self-actualize or whatever. And of course, the best thing was that prior to that, I was able to, use the Master Balls, or rather the Great Balls, to get all the legendary birds without using a guide or anything, which I felt, super cool about doing. And after I finally beat Koji in the Elite Four and just finally putting a final nail in the coffin, I went back to that cave with the super powerful monsters, and I caught and found Mewtwo with the Master Ball. I held on to that Master Ball so I could capture Mewtwo, so that felt really good. And it just felt like such a sense of accomplishment, and I sort of understood why people love Pokemon so much now, because, you're fighting, but you're also using cooperation, and I'm not one of those, Undertale was so amazing because you talked to the monsters. I'm not that kind of guy, but you felt that cooperation. That's what I really appreciate. It's not artificial. You really feel like you and your Pokemon have been on a journey together and you've overcome challenges. And I don't know, the whole nostalgia of all the TV shows and the card games kind of came back to me a little bit when I beat it. And maybe it was the music, but it feels so simple and cute and pure. It was like playing the childhood game I never had. And I felt like a kid again when I was playing it. It was actually a really cool / weird experience, but it was nice. And the thing I did immediately after was I went to, not intentionally actually, we just started up, Super Smash Brothers, because we always play that once in a while, and Ultimate, and I was like, oh my god, that's Pikachu, and that's Mewtwo and Jigglypuff. I'm like, I know these guys, and to see how they implemented all their moves, like, oh yeah, Pikachu uses Thunder Shock, and Mewtwo uses Psychic, and Jigglypuff uses Sing, and to see that evolution and interpretation of those characters, it never gets old. I love seeing the evolution of game mechanics, how you can go from one game to another, or you put this character in this game and you see how it changes. It's so cool, and when it's well done, it's so nice to see. So yeah, I guess I guess I love Pokemon now to an extent. I mean, this game was so long to beat, and that's the other thing too. I did consider dropping it again in the cave area before the Elite Four, because that was just the worst. It was terrible. I was like, you know what, I've hated every single cave level. I think there's only 3 in the game. The first one, which traumatizes everyone as a child. The second one, where you have to pull up your pants. And the third one, where you're like, oh my god, just let it be over. And I thought, because the thing is, after you get to that point, you're already in the Elite Four area. So I'm like, do I have to go through a whole bunch of areas and 4 more gyms just to beat this game? I was like, I don't think it's worth it. But I just went through, found a surprisingly linear way through the final cave area, and I came to just 4 final boss fights. I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you. And that feeling of finally making it and, rounding up the last Pokemon. I think the only Pokemon I didn't get that I could get were Taurus in the special zone and the capture zone. Taurus and Chansey, I think, were the only ones I didn't get. And then there's the other ones you have to trade from Blue, which are, I'm on a 3DS, so I don't know if anyone out there has a Pokemon Blue downloaded on their 3DS willing to trade, because I don't think they do. I got as many as I could, essentially. Slash those 2. I actually got a Scyther in the Safari Zone, and that felt incredible. It was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And it was really great leveling them up, but then you find, you could just catch higher level Pokemon in other places, whatever. Yeah, I don't know, becoming that Pokemon master, it felt really good. And so the question is, will I play another Pokemon game after this? I feel like I've mastered it. If I did, and if I went to go play another one, it would be, I think, Heart Gold or Soul Silver. That seems to be the consensus of what is the best one. And and I've listened to like the OST, even though I've never played it, because it's so nice, or I'm gonna say childish, but like it sounds like childhood. It's so nice and cute sounding, I guess. I don't know. And I'm definitely not going to play Pokemon Go. I don't want to. I think it's past anyway, but I actually never got into Pokemon Go. I did try to, but my phone didn't support it because I had an awful phone, so there, that's that. But yeah, I'm super glad I played Pokemon, and I get why people love it so much. Because it's the feeling that you use the power of friendship to overcome all your struggles, and you, through cooperation and learning and blah blah blah, and plus all the autism of the people who want to memorize every move, and people like Justin RPG, and I think it's the organizational nature of Pokemon and how everything is, you essentially had a guy who I guess was a zoologist, and he tried to fit every single creature into a reduced consumable friendly type or archetype for children, and I think that process or mindset also attracts the people with the same mindset. And so I saw this chart where it listed every single Pokemon and color coded it according to if you should be friends with it, hug it, kiss it, or obviously mate with it. But it was super organized and detailed, and I was like, all right, that's the kind of art. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I love Pokemon now. It's a great game, and people should go and play it. Maybe not Red. I think people should play Yellow, or maybe Soul Silver. That seems to be, and Heart Gold. Those seem to be better, more Kino choices. Anyway, see you later, guys.